The following is from the Melodramatics podcast, where we discuss all things theatre and drama. So if you like theatre, stage, drama, films, check us out on Spotify, YouTube, and all the other streaming platforms that I'm not going to go through. Hey all, this is Benji's Weird Theatre, and today we're looking at Carrie. Carrie tells the story of Carrie White, a sensitive and bullied teenager. Daily she faces taunting from her classmates at school and abuse from her fanatically religious mother. At home. This constant abuse forces Carrie to become withdrawn from others and constantly be on guard. Carrie only has one person who seems to care about her, the concerned Miss Gardner. Strange occurrences start happening around Carrie and she begins to suspect that she has supernatural power. Suddenly, things seem to be looking up for the teenager as she is invited to prom by Tommy Ross, one of the guys that she has quite the crush on. Little does Carrie know that this was at the behest of Tommy's cruel girlfriend. Carrie tries to let her guard down at prom and even starts enjoying herself, but things eventually take a dark turn when it's revealed the popular kids have all come together to insult and belittle Carrie one last time. Enraged and broken, Carrie shows the full force of her supernatural powers and takes vengeance upon her abusers. Carrie slaughters the entire graduating class, burning down the school in the process, then takes her rampage out onto the streets, destroying most of the town, turning over cars and killing many. Returning home, Carrie's mother attempts to kill her. Carrie kills her mother and then lets the house collapse upon them, ending the story. Carrie is a very sad and tragic figure, a figure who was abused all through life and involuntarily socially isolated from her peers by her mother and the systems that she's a part of. This all results in her becoming the angel of death to her abusers and slaughtering them all. This was Stephen King's first novel, released in 1974. Upon its release, King said, who would want to read a book about a poor girl with menstrual problems? I couldn't believe I was writing it. The immediate success of the book followed. In 1976, a movie adaptation was made, starring Sissy Spacek, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, I know I'm not, as the titular Carrie. This is arguably the performance of her career. Unlike a lot of cult horror films released at the time, Carrie received critical acclaim and is to this day considered to be one of the best horror films ever made, as well as a very good coming-of-age story. There was a 2013 remake. It was shit.
It was not shit. It was good.
This brings us to the musical world, where in 1988, Carrie the Musical was premiered at Stanford. The musical was written with problems from the get-go, and rewrites continued after each performance. The show had a trial run at Stanford and was riddled with script and technical problems. The infamous pig blood scene was nearly impossible to sort out and was taken out of the play entirely, which pissed me off in the version we watched. That is like the pinnacle of this movie, and you're going to get it right. The musical debuted on Broadway. It closed after 5 performances. This is one of my favourite parts, is that the mother in it, they got a very famous sort of woman to play her, and she left the production after the first performance, after she was almost decapitated.
Oh, God.
But you guys watched it. What did you think? This was mauled by critics.
To say, because the first version we watched, which is a newer performance of it, I really enjoyed.
I'll get to that, yes.
But the 1988 version we watched, because the video quality was so hard, like so bad, I found it really hard to judge whether I enjoyed it or not. Like it seemed very similar to the other one in terms of content and everything.
I thought I was going to hate this show, because I do very much enjoy the film. I think it's one of the best films ever made. But I really liked the songs.
Yeah.
The only thing that irritated me was, like, when you come to the end, like, after all the bullying, yeah, there's 2 things you need to get right that happen, okay? 1, she gets covered in pig's blood. You know? And 2, that forces her to go on a rage in which she burns down everything.
Yeah.
They drag her on stage, and because they can't do the pig's blood, they just take off her robe and like, oh yeah, there's red on her dress, that's blood, we did it off stage.
Oh, is that what they were doing?
That's what they were doing.
Because you saw them kind of pour the bucket over her, but then not quite. So, in the film and the book, I guess, is the idea that to getting Tommy to take her to the prom is just for them to be mean and pour the pig's blood on, or is Sue actually genuine about it?
She's
Sue,
genuine.
yeah, Sue actually does feel bad for her.
Yeah,
And sort of
thought
wants
so.
to give her a nice night, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's something I should correct out of my notes. No, it wasn't Tommy's girlfriend, it was Tommy's girlfriend's friends.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Chris.
Yeah, I thought I only watched the 88 version, and like Lauren said, it was hard to sort of listen to and watch as the quality for video cameras back then wasn't the best. But from what I could make out of it, it was good. It wasn't anything spectacular. I felt.
I actually thought the scenes of her and her mum were amazing.
Yeah, there was a definite like sort of pathos there where you felt sorry for her, you know. I mean, I've also only seen the 2013 film of Carrie, which I personally loved. I thought it was brilliant.
Well, you haven't seen the original?
No, not yet. It's on the list.
Well, no wonder you think that's good. One thing they didn't keep in is just a little tidbit that I find that's really interesting is when Tommy's on stage and Carrie's on stage and they're being awarded and they pour the pig's blood onto Carrie, because Tommy also doesn't really know what's going on. The bucket falls and hits Tommy on the head, and that's actually what kills him.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's not actually Carrie in her power. But John Travolta's in the original. And he dies. Which is really... but another sort of tragic moment with Sue is that she is pregnant with Tommy's baby. And there's sort of a bit...
Does Sue die?
Sorry?
Does Sue end up dying, or is she left alone?
She survives, doesn't she?
Depends on the version, yeah.
Yeah.
And either way, she loses the baby.
Although it was really hard to see in this 1988 version, when Carrie is like killing everyone, that looked really interesting with the lights flashing and everything, and the screen they put between Sue and everyone else. Like, I thought that was quite enjoyable, even though I couldn't probably see it.
I really like the stage coming up.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, dude, this is like Broadway production. You spent $8 million on it. You can't give me a little bit of fire on stage.
Yeah.
You know? Like, what's it? $8 million. And the reason they couldn't do the pig's blood scene is because it would interfere with Carrie's microphone and cause a lot of problems there. $8 million, you can't figure it out?
Yeah, couldn't you just use, like, confetti or something?
Yeah. Get someone else to hold the mic. I don't know.
But yeah, I felt like it was very much like the musical was very much like Grease in a way.
Yeah.
I got that vibe.
So yeah, I thought it very much lowered you into a false sense of security in it.
I feel like it was
Like-
very 80s as well. Like, that opening scene felt like I was watching an 80s aerobics kind of video when the teacher's taking them through the gym class or whatever it is. Like,
Yeah, that's
was great.
Miss Gardner.
Yeah.
I felt that they needed more scenes with Miss Gardner.
Yeah. It was really hard watching this version to figure out why she was so kind to Carrie. Like, obviously, as a teacher, you're concerned about your student going through something like that. But compared to the other version we watched, the other version, she was very kind the whole way through, whereas when Carrie gets her period in this one, she slaps her and kind of, like, treats her not very nice, but then all of a sudden later on she's like, you know, why don't you go to the prom and enjoy this, like, night? I don't know. That was kind of odd, I thought.
I think it was
the character wasn't very solid for me, like whether she was supposed to be kind to Carrie or
No,
very
could they be
strict.
showing like two different levels of the character? Maybe she started out like, you know, like with the rest like bullying her, but when she realized this was really taking an effect on her, tried to save her before. Yeah, the one thing I don't like about these sort of stories, is very much the person who's bullied and abused ends up sort of in a very short time ends up getting like a lot of revenge on their abusers and all that. I it's kind of sad to me because like a lot of times that can never happen or can take years. You know. Yeah, I really enjoyed the songs with Carrie's mother. I wrote that the movie has a lot more spectacle over the play. You know, because by the end of the play, you want Carrie to get her revenge. You know, I don't think there's anyone who's watched Carrie and doesn't like outwardly feel for her. And Spissy Speck is amazing in the part. There's this sort of beautiful shot where she's walking home and she's covered in blood and she's crying. You know, it's like, you know, her big night is ruined. And then John Travolta comes up and tries to run her over.
What a dick.
Throws the car. Yeah, despite being received negatively, the musical has been revived many times by small and large productions. I owe this to the themes of the performance and the fact that a lot of younger people, and even people our age, can relate to the character, as we've all gone through at least some forms of abuse or bullying. Obviously, I'm not trying to make light of abuse or bullying here, but I feel like everyone has at least received even just a small amount. Does that make sense, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel that inherently we can relate to the character, at least a little bit. However, the show Riverdale reignited interest in Carrie the musical, as it was prominently featured in the episode Chapter 31, A Night to Remember. And that's sort of where a lot of nowadays revivals have come from, because they performed the whole thing in the episode.
Okay.
So any final thoughts on Carrie the musical?
No, like I said, I thought it was good. I didn't think it was anything spectacular, but it was enjoyable. And, you know, the story of Carrie is a good story, and I wouldn't have picked it as a musical, but there you go.
Lauren?
Yeah, I felt it really effective the first time I watched it. Because I haven't watched the movie, like, my emotions were just like, this is really hard to watch, the way she's being bullied and the way her mother's abusing her. Like, it made me really sad. Yeah. So now I'm curious to watch the movies as well. But yeah, I enjoyed it.
It's a big journey, that movie. Like, you have to be prepared for it. Because, yeah, it does legitimately, like, open up with her getting her period.
Yeah.
Well, I think that'll do it for this episode. What do you guys think? Yes? Oh, beautiful. All right. I've been your host, Benji Rag, here with the lovely Lauren Huggo.
Hello, goodbye.
And the lovely Dear Taylor.
A compliment, thank you.
Aww.
I treat you nice. All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us. We'll see you next time. And remember, you matter. Bye!
Bye.
Hey, this is Benji here, and I'm editing the podcast right now. I noticed that at the end, I really kind of half-assed the "you matter" part, and that's something I'm not okay with. A lot of times in life, you'll hear when you're going through things like, "Don't worry, it gets better later on in life," and it's kind of hollow at the point when you're really going through some stuff. And I just like to say, like, you really do matter, and just please hang in there. You know, you are worth something. So, yeah, thank you. All right. And thank you for listening.